Courtney, you can go live. Hey there, everyone. Before we get back into our next segment here on NBC 25, just wanted to let you know we are starting our Facebook Live and YouTube Live to track these storms out as they are now making their way towards US 127. You will hear me pause for a couple minutes before we get into our full weather forecast here, likely closer to about 11:15, 11:16 is when it's going to start. But I wanted to jump on live right now. We don't have any active warnings, or at least the new watch that is expected to occur here likely by the top of the hour. But any warnings that are issued, we will have them as quickly as we can get those to you on our Facebook and also YouTube. So stick with us as we kind of get through the show. You may hear me pause. You may not hear me all that often, but we'll have these updates for you periodically over the next 20 minutes or so.
We have new developments tonight. The Supreme Court hears oral arguments over lower court judges' authority to block presidential executive orders. As Christine Fazao reports, the case stems from President Donald Trump's birthright citizenship order.
Outside the Supreme Court, hundreds gathered in support of the constitutional guarantee of birthright citizenship, which President Trump for years has said he opposes.
The 14th Amendment is very questionable as to whether or not somebody can come over, have a baby, and immediately that baby is a citizen.
But inside the courtroom, questions mostly focused on just how far the president can go
Thank you.
in carrying out that conviction.
There are 680 district court judges, and they
Thank
are dedicated and they are scholarly, and I'm not impugning their motives in any way, but sometimes they're wrong.
You claim that there is absolutely no constitutional way to stop a president from an unconstitutional act.
The High Court asked to weigh in on nationwide injunctions. In the case of the 14th Amendment, 3 lower court judges have blocked Trump's policy from taking effect. Since taking office, more than a dozen nationwide injunctions have been issued on multiple Trump policies. Critics and the Justice Department arguing that puts too much power in the hands of judges to block the president's agenda.
Universal injunctions exceed the judicial power granted in Article 3, which exists only to address the injury to the complaining party.
Critics have a different take.
That if you don't like the nationwide injunctions that federal judges, both Republican and Democrat, are issuing, that don't do illegal and unconstitutional stuff.
If the justices side with Trump, as they appear they may, it could have a sweeping impact on the power of lower court judges in this country.
It means that the judges' decisions would be much more limited. It would just be in front of the people before them, not for the whole country.
Again, an immediate answer to the birthright citizenship question in this case is unlikely. But a decision on some of the other big questions raised here is expected sometime before July. At the Supreme Court, I'm Christine Frazao.
The Mid-Michigan Now Golden Apple Award, sponsored by the law offices of Lee Steinberg.
The nominations are in for this year's Mid-Michigan Now Golden Apple Award. Scan the QR code or go to midmichigannow.com to vote for the teacher you feel deserves that award. Eric will have your storm ready alert day forecast in 30 seconds.
I'm Mike Rowe, and this is the most honest commercial you're going to see all week.
Today, we're waterproofing a basement.
How long do you think this problem has been a problem?
Well, actually, the homeowner told us that she lived here for 42 years, and when they first moved in, they had water issues. That is like your telltale sign of like, hey, I'm having an issue, and that's when people should call.
Get a free and honest inspection with Foundation Systems of Michigan, a Groundworks company.
We continue with our Storm Ready Alert Day here, now a Storm Ready Alert night, as these storms are now making their approach towards US 127. That's where the majority of the warnings are likely going to occur over the next half an hour to an hour. For those that can hear me on Facebook and YouTube, just know you'll also be hearing the show periodically, but we'll have updates throughout this show. And also, once we are done here on NBC 25, we're going to have updates on our Facebook and YouTube throughout the night. If we need to break in for any of those substantial severe thunderstorm warnings or even a tornado or warning or two, we will also do that here on NBC 25 and also Fox 66. Lots of lightning with this area of shower and thunderstorm activity. Some 1,000 to 1,500 strikes that we have at least seen and recorded from this activity so far. So even if you don't have the dangerous winds or large hail that we are watching very closely with a lot of these storms, dangerous lightning is also expected to occur. You can see that this storm system racing across the west side of the state. Over the last hour, it moved pretty much from the shoreline of Lake Michigan, now approaching Interstate 69 and US 127. It will continue to quickly overspread our area over the next 2 to 3 hours. By 2-3 a.m., it'll be over Lake Huron and no longer our issue. We are not seeing any active warnings in our region just yet, but there are some tornado warnings off to the south of where I have zoomed in, because what we're likely going to have is potentially some of those severe thunderstorm warnings placed here for Gratiot, also Isabella, Clare, and Roscommon, where we have our 4 counties under that tornado watch. You can see several tornado warnings in red down just outside of Grand Rapids, in between Grand Rapids and Lansing, and also right around the Battle Creek area. Those storms are likely a little bit more intense. They have more of that moisture and heat to feed off of, getting a little bit weaker as you trend further to the north towards the Cadillac area. All of us still under that risk of severe weather now through 3 a.m. Isolated tornadoes still a threat, but damaging winds, large hail will likely be the main issue we have going forward over the next few hours. By midnight, those storms will have already moved through US 127, now making their approach towards Interstate 75. If you live Flint, Grand Blanc, Saginaw, over towards Chesaning, including Pinconning, Midland, Bay City, up through about Standish into Gladwin, we are going to see these storms between about midnight and 1 o'clock, and then moving further on off to the east into the Thumb and further north and north of the Saginaw Bay between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. By 2 to 3, all of these storms will have moved over Lake Huron, and we'll just see some cloudier conditions for a few hours beyond that. The one thing that will likely continue to weaken these storms is that limited instability. We're losing the heat. We still have some decent moisture, but it's the temperatures that are cooling that is bringing this down. That's our storm energy, the instability. We have to lift the shear and the moisture. We just don't really have the heat that would really give us a more significant severe weather threat. Doesn't mean we don't have a risk, but these storms will likely continue to slowly weaken as they move through, while still bringing us a damaging wind, large hail, and isolated tornado threat. So be weather aware for the next couple of hours as we go forward. Any of those additional watches or warnings that are posted for our area, we will, of course, have those scrolling on our NBC and Fox affiliates, but of course, we'll also stay live here on Facebook and YouTube with any warnings that are active in our area.
Thank you so much, Eric. We appreciate all your work today. It's an action-packed day in Midland. Crosstown doubleheaders in baseball and softball. Sports Director Alex Eisman has the highlights next in sports.
Can you guys open up my mic again? Thank you. All right, everyone, on our Facebook and YouTube pages, I know you guys have heard some of the show so far. That's just because we are in our NBC 25 newscast here at 11 o'clock. So you'll hear things that aren't necessarily related to the weather, but we are going to continue to break in while we are in commercial. And of course, once we're done with this show, it'll only be weather from here on out. Good news is we don't have any active warnings so far, but it is a very intense line of storms stretching from Cadillac all the way down just outside of Lansing into the Kalamazoo Battle Creek area. And that's where several of those tornado warnings are in effect right now. Mainly radar indicated, but some of these tornado warnings are observed. And if they continue along Interstate 69 and 96, we might have to keep a very close eye on any of those warnings if they are able to make it into our area. The best opportunity of severe weather and maybe an isolated tornado will be across Interstate 69 and also towards US 127. But as of right now, we don't have any active warnings in our area. It's just around the Lansing, Battle Creek, Marshall region of the western central portion of the state of Michigan. So we are going to watch these storms very closely, see how much of the intensity can maintain as it moves closer and closer to our area. Here's that Doppler radar once again. These storms are moving at about 50 to 55 miles per hour, so they will quickly move through, and that could lead to a higher damaging wind threat. But as of right now, not seeing that new severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch issued just yet, but I would be surprised if that doesn't happen before the top of the hour, probably in between 11:30 to midnight, once these storms really start to get a lot closer to the areas that are no longer under those watches. So we're about to jump back into our programming, so you'll hear our NBC 25 feed, and then once we are done with that at about 11:31, 11:32, it'll be all weather from here on out.
Here's your Mid-Michigan Now Sports Report, sponsored by your Mid-Michigan Toyota dealers.
Hello and welcome into Mid-Michigan Now Sports. I'm Alex Eisman. We have a jam-packed show of high school sports on tap tonight, and we're better to start than the playoffs. Heritage girls lacrosse had a dominant year so far, and they were facing an upset-minded Lake Fenton team with the season on the line. We'll go to the second half. Heritage sitting on a strong lead, and they're looking to increase it as Claire Stark rips one in to get the second half going, keeping up the tempo. This time, it's Bregan Hamilton looking, then moving towards the net, setting up her shot, firing, and hits the back. 2 early goals for the Hawks out of the break. Now the home team looking unstoppable. Lily Huffman to Peyton Colley. A quick shot keeps the Heritage run going. Hawks making sure to convert the easy ones too. It's Colley off the bounce on the penalty shot. Finds its way into the net. And in the final minutes, one more for the night. That's coming from Hamilton as the Hawks soar through their first playoff match, downing Lake Fenton by a final score of 17-1. Moving on to some girls soccer just down the street. The Frankenmuth Eagles head to Nouvelle Catholic Central. Starting the second half, that's Claire Long. She is going to take her shot just off the crossbar, nearly goes in. Lillian Collison refuses to give up on the play, takes a second shot off the rebound, and now here's a look from the corner. Sydney Leslie sets up the shot. Someone's got to get it. Kelsey Bertiame executes the perfect header, placing the ball right into the net to keep the Panthers rolling. Later on, Nouvelle trying to pull off another special play, but this time Lillian Mickelson able to swat it away. But the Panthers come right back with a PK from Bertiame that lands right into the bottom corner. That one closes out the night on a great team performance from the Panthers as they down the Eagles. Final score 5-0. Over in Midland, we had crosstown rivalry action in bulk. The Chemixton Chargers played double headers in both baseball and softball. Midland baseball dominated the first leg 12-0. Brett Faccio spun a dominant 5-inning shutout with 12 strikeouts. On to game 2, the Chemics threatening in the first inning. That's a base knock for Kaden Nieto, who had a fantastic day overall. A perfect 6 of 6 with 6 RBIs between the two games. And with the bases loaded, Grayson Lampy took one for the team to get the first run across. Dow answered in the third. Gibson Brown, slow roller, beats out the throw to play to run. And he advances to second on the error of big-time hustle play from the shortstop. But the Chemics stayed on the gas. Liam Hines, a deep drive to left. Outfielder retreating just over his outstretched glove. Hines digging for third. He is in safe for a triple. Eli Kell rips a liner to left afterwards to bring him home and give Midland the lead back. And they would not give it up from there on out. 4-1 the final as the Chemics complete the sweep of their rival. A great showing from Jacoby Lind on the mound as well. All 7 innings, 1 earned run, and 9 Ks to help them win game 2. Across town, the Chemics were the hosts on the softball diamond, but the Chargers were the ones to take the first game 5-0 behind a big Ella Stoney showing both at the plate and in the circle. They have the lead in game 2 here, but Midland gets one back thanks to Emily Went. Base knockout to left makes the score 5-2 in the bottom of the 4th, but check this play out. Stoney with a hard grounder. It pops up off the bag. She beats the errant throw, which ultimately brings around 2 more runs for the Chargers. She ends up advancing to second, now 7-2. Chemics with their backs against the wall. They get a 3rd run on a wild pitch, but that was all they could muster the rest of the way. Dow handling business this evening against their crosstown rival. 7-3 the final in game 2 as they finish off the sweep.
You got some great action today, great highlights.
Yes, and very balanced. You got Dow sweeping softball, and you
Yes.
got Midland sweeping baseball. You got a little playoff lacrosse action too. It's been great. Yeah.
Thank you very much for bringing us that today. Take a live look at downtown Flint from the Durant Luxury Apartments. We'll be right back.
Can you guys open my mic up once again? All right, everyone, we are back with several new severe thunderstorm warnings and a new tornado watch. So the rest of the area will soon be placed under this tornado watch box. We have multiple counties now under severe thunderstorm warnings. We're going to start with our northern spots, the ones that are going to see the storms a little bit sooner than everyone else. This is for Clare and Isabella until 12:15 a.m. local time, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible with these storms. You can also see that we have new tornado watch boxes all the way up into our far northern spots. So the rest of the area will get put under a tornado watch, even though we are not seeing that popping up just yet. We have severe thunderstorm warnings here down into Gratiot County. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds and the potential of some small hail, really just becoming a wind threat more so than anything else. And then just a little bit ahead of time, but still likely going to be something to watch very closely. We have our severe thunderstorm warning until 12:45 here tomorrow morning. Bay, Midland, Saginaw, 60-mile-per-hour winds with a tornado possible tag. Not seeing any rotation that we're necessarily worried with just yet, but don't be surprised if a tornado warning is issued, and is exactly the reason why we are seeing the entire area now put under that tornado watch box. So several tornado warnings just outside of Lansing and Jackson. Those are the storms we are going to keep a very close eye on, of course. But as of right now, we're kind of getting into the thick of it, and we will have these storms in our area for the next 2 to 3 hours at least. So 2 a.m., 3 a.m. is when the area of activity will clear over Lake Huron. But until then, make sure you have ways to keep yourself awake or wake yourself up. If you're about to go to bed, maybe into the thumb, and you need to wake yourself up in a couple hours, if there are any warnings issued, make sure you have those ways to keep yourself safe here this evening. Okay, thank you. Well, since the last time we talked and were on with our watches and warnings, several new warnings issued for our area, including severe thunderstorm warnings for Midland, Bay, and Saginaw counties. We are all now under a newly issued tornado watch box. That is until 5 a.m. local time. Storms are likely going to be out of here before then. I would say at the earliest, we will see them gone by 2 a.m. and at the latest 3 a.m. they'll be over Lake Huron. But they put this watch box in for about a 6-hour time period, so that's why we have it until 5 o'clock. Likely will be allowed to expire before that time as we get into tomorrow morning. Our severe thunderstorm warning for Bay, Midland, Saginaw, that is until 12:45 local time. A brief spin-up tornado is a possibility in this line, along with 60-mile-per-hour winds. We also have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect until 12:15 for Clare and Isabella County, 60-mile-per-hour winds there. And also Gratiot County, 60-mile-per-hour winds, those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect until 12:15 and 12:30, respectively. Here's a look at our radar as we are seeing that line of storms advancing very, very quickly towards our region. Lots of dangerous lightning. We're seeing some of those reports of about 1,000 to 1,200 lightning strikes just within this line. So even if you don't have any of the wind that necessarily impacts your area, lightning can surely do that. You don't want to be caught outside with those cloud-to-ground lightning strikes because that can be just as dangerous with some of these storms.
I know you have a long night ahead of you, so thank you.
We'll
very
be here.
much. Yes, for keeping us informed. Thanks to all of you, and stay safe out there. Pay attention. Yeah, Casey, on a night like tonight,
Can you guys open my mic again? Because we got tornado warnings now. All right, I'm going to need to go back. Thank you. I need to get back on TV. Hey, I got to get back on TV. We got a tornado warning. We've got a tornado warning. So we might have to just go right back to what the programming was.
All right.
Thank you, fellas. Hey, Courtney, can you restart that stream? Yeah, just with the same, caption and same title.
I just left it the same as what it was.
Yeah.
I think it says about
Pulling you up on there. So.
Okay. We'll just break in whenever we can.